He had a dream. But before the dream came the danger, the fear, the threats. Martin Luther King Jr. was not just a man with beautiful words. He was a tactician, a fighter, a symbol of resistance who shook the foundation of American society. When most Americans think about Martin Luther King Jr., they recall his stirring words. But before Dr. King became the voice of a nation, he was a young man searching for his path. He was born Michael King Jr. in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. His father was a prominent Baptist minister, and his mother was a dedicated activist. They made sure their son knew that no matter what, his skin color did not define his self-worth. In 1934, Michael attended a segregated school where his teacher asked the children to draw pictures of their family. When Michael proudly displayed a drawing of his father, the teacher tore it up, calling his father's job a disgrace. This early experience of racial prejudice left an indelible mark on Michael, shaping his future activism. As Michael grew older, he witnessed firsthand the injustices faced by African Americans. Segregation was deeply ingrained in the southern United States during this time. Blacks were denied basic rights and were subjected to violence and intimidation if they dared to challenge the status quo. This environment fueled Michael's determination to fight for equality and justice. At age 13, he witnessed a white man beating a black man without provocation. Filled with anger and a desire for justice, Michael confronted the attacker, an act of bravery that set the stage for his future activism. While studying at Morehouse College, a historically black liberal arts institution, Michael became increasingly aware of the inequalities and discrimination faced by African Americans. Influenced by his family's teachings and personal experiences, he decided to dedicate his life to the civil rights movement. After graduating from Morehouse, Michael went on to earn a Ph.D. in theology from Boston University. During his studies, he immersed himself in the works of great thinkers such as Mahatma Gandhi, whose philosophy of nonviolent resistance greatly influenced Dr. King's approach to activism. Upon returning to Atlanta, Michael began his ministry at the Ebenezer Baptist Church, following in his father's footsteps.
However,
it was not long before he became known not only for his powerful sermons, but also for his leadership in the burgeoning civil rights movement. The year 1955 marked a turning point in the civil rights movement with the Montgomery bus boycott. It all started when Rosa Parks, a seamstress and NAACP member, refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on a Montgomery, Alabama bus. Her act of defiance sparked a citywide boycott. Leaders from various organizations, including the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, sought to make the boycott successful. They needed someone with charisma and determination to lead the movement. Enter Martin Luther King Jr., a young minister from Atlanta who was drawn into the struggle for equality. Recognizing King's potential, the leaders invited him to Montgomery to deliver a sermon at a church. It was an opportunity for King to make a name for himself on the national stage. Upon arriving in Montgomery, King met with local leaders, including Ralph Abernathy, who played a pivotal role in organizing the boycott. Together, they forged a partnership that would become instrumental in advancing the civil rights cause. As the bus boycott entered its second month, tensions escalated, leading to the desegregation of Montgomery's buses. King's leadership in Montgomery brought him national attention and established him as a prominent figure in the civil rights movement. Throughout the movement, King faced numerous challenges and threats, including bombings and arrests. Yet he remained steadfast in his commitment to nonviolent resistance. His leadership was instrumental in securing the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. In 1963, King organized the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where he delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech. The speech not only articulated his vision for racial equality, but also served as a clarion call to action for Americans to come together and dismantle the barriers of segregation. But it was far from easy. Dr. King faced arrest over 20 times, and his house was bombed. You can actually see the scars left behind by these events today. At the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historical Park in Atlanta, they've preserved the way that his home looked back then, with the windows boarded up and the front door covered in concrete just like it was after that bombing. Yet despite the dangers he faced, Dr. King remained resolute in his commitment to nonviolent resistance. He believed that love and nonviolent resistance were powerful weapons in the struggle for justice. This unwavering commitment to peace and equality in the face of adversity solidified his place as a champion of civil rights. And let's not forget one of the most iconic images of the civil rights movement: the students sitting at the lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. After years of segregation and Jim Crow laws, these students wanted to eat at a lunch counter in a department store downtown. But when they sat down, the store manager took away their menus and refused to serve them, so they stayed put. They sat there for hours, and eventually, the police arrived. It looked like things were going to get violent, but these students maintained their peaceful protests. Soon word spread about their demonstration, and more students joined in. Within weeks, sit-ins spread throughout the South, and by May 1960, more than 70,000 students had participated in these acts of defiance. But the true cost of the movement was measured in beatings and arrests. Bloody Sunday in Selma is a particularly haunting example. The peaceful march from Selma to Montgomery turned violent when state troopers attacked the protesters, injuring many and killing one. Even in the face of such brutality, the movement continued. And on March 25, 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson addressed a joint session of Congress, urging them to support voting rights for African Americans. His speech was a powerful call to action, and he encouraged Congress to pass legislation outlawing discrimination in voting. The result was the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a landmark piece of legislation that outlawed discriminatory voting practices and paved the way for greater political participation by African Americans. As the civil rights movement gained momentum, Dr. King's influence grew, but so did the threats against him. The FBI, under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, launched a campaign of surveillance and harassment against him. Hoover saw Dr. King as a threat to national security and ordered his assassination. By the late 1960s, Dr. King's focus expanded beyond civil rights to include the broader issues of poverty and the Vietnam War. He became increasingly critical of the war and called for peace and economic justice. On April 4, 1968, while standing on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, Dr. King was assassinated by James Earl Ray, a white supremacist. His untimely death sent shockwaves across the nation and the world. In the aftermath of Dr. King's assassination, his legacy continued to inspire generations of activists and reformers. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, are testaments to his unwavering commitment to equality. However, it's important to acknowledge that despite these legislative victories, the struggle for racial justice and equality is far from over. Systemic racism and discrimination continue to persist, as evidenced by the ongoing fight for police accountability and the continued disparities in areas such as healthcare, education, and employment. Dr. King's dream of a society where his children would be judged, not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character, remains an aspirational ideal that we must continue to strive for. Today, Dr. King's birthday is celebrated as a national holiday in the United States. It serves as a reminder of his contributions to the advancement of civil rights and the progress that has been made toward creating a more inclusive and equitable society. The story of Martin Luther King Jr. is a testament to the power of courage, perseverance, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. He showed us that ordinary people can create extraordinary change when they stand up for what they believe in. His life and work remind us that the fight for equality and justice is a continuous journey that requires our active participation and dedication. As we look to the future, let us draw inspiration from Dr. King's example and work towards building a world that embodies his dream of peace, equality, and brotherhood. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to learn more about amazing history stories like this one, subscribe for more content.